European basketball, I think, is the more, I gotta be careful here. I think it's European basketball is no entertainment. It's straight IQ basketball, straight coaching, and really, really high IQ guys who know how to play the game.
This tweet that Kevin Durant posted that is titled Entertainment and IQ with the picture of Team USA winning the gold, apparently it was made right after the comments that you just heard Dennis Schröder made. And as of recently, Dennis Schröder responded back to that subliminal tweet that Kevin Durant put out and didn't seem like he was too happy with it. I'm going to read y'all what he said, and I quote, "Day one," and Kevin Durant tweets, "High IQ and entertainment. For me, that's just being weak. You're that type of a star and you have to say something to a person like me who not even meant it to be negative. It was just what I see from both sides. You know what I'm saying? I didn't appreciate it. I don't care, but at the end of the day, that tweet or whatever he posted was because of me, for me. It was never no negative stuff. I respect all of those guys, all GOATs, but to say that tells me how weak he is as a person. It is what it is. Not everybody is strong. Not everybody is in a good place." Quote from Dennis Schröder. There's a lot of different things I could say about this man, and we're going to break it down. I'll first start off by saying I didn't like the ending where he said not everyone is in a good place. It made it seem like Kevin Durant is unhinged and he put something out that was very malicious or disrespectful. It was a little shot. He was poking fun, having you know, a little bit of a time on Twitter. I didn't think it was that serious to say that part at the end. That's just how I feel. Y'all could tell me. But let's actually begin with what Dennis Schröder said at the start of this clip, where he was saying Euro basketball is no entertainment, high IQ. That makes sense to me if you're in a league where, let's say, you don't have as much talent as the NBA or even the athleticism. Well, what are you going to rely on more if you don't have athleticism and talent? You're going to try to outsmart people and turn it into a chess game. That's why being able to jump out of the gym is a gift and a curse. It works well as you're coming up in the ranks, high school or college. You don't have to necessarily rely on anything else but, hey, throw that lob up, I'm gonna dunk, I'm gonna grab the offensive rebound 4 or 5 in a row, put back jam, easy basket. Now when you get into the NBA, you got to develop that a little bit more. Or what ends up happening is, say that does still work out for you, you carve out a niche for yourself, you get an injury or two, you're not as explosive anymore. You don't have a skill set to actually fall back on that you could use because you never really developed it in the first place. As a result, it forced places like Europe to put more of an emphasis on the one thing they can control and harness within their power, which is the fundamentals of the game, in comparison to the NBA in recent years.
Jamal Moses is a good friend of mine. I had him in Cleveland. I congratulated him when he got the job, and he was like, "Twan, I'm teaching them how to set a proper screen." And he's not talking about rookies, he's talking about guys that have been in the league for 2 or 3 years. And I'm just like, you know, we learned that in college. Fundamentals and things of that nature. So, high school.
This is a former NBA player who was a very good one, by the way, when he played, saying that they're not even really teaching the fundamentals. You heard Gilbert Arenas chime in saying you learned this stuff in high school. Let me take this to a micro level. When I was playing, trying to, you know, do my thing, hoop dreaming and all of that, I would have coaches sub me out the game if I didn't box out. If I missed a box out, yo, you getting subbed out. And this wasn't because I'm somebody fighting to get minutes on the team and I'm a bench warmer. It's just a precedent, a kind of culture that was trying to be set where this is what we focus on. It matters, these little things. No, we're going to make sure that you follow it to a T. Fast forward in the future, when I'm watching other guys in high school now, I do notice things like that. No one's really consistently boxing out, consistently setting proper picks. Something else too, the post-up game, the ability to play with your back to the basket. That's another whole lost fundamental that's not even a part of the game anymore. Now it's like 5 players who all want to play just face up. No one even knows how to call for the ball in the block and actually do an up and under. That's a whole nother conversation, a whole nother video. Here's something else that needs to be said too that is not often mentioned enough. If you're an American player back in the day, you're specializing based off of your position. The fundamentals that you learn is more so for if you're a point guard, specifically a shooting guard, power forward, center. It was very much based on the position, how you learn and were taught the game. Whereas in Europe, it was more, okay, even if you're a center, we're still going to teach you how to pass the ball, how to dribble the ball. If you're a point guard, shooting guard, we're still going to teach you a post-up move, how to get it on the block. This ended up birthing people like a Dirk Nowitzki, a Nikola Jokic, what you see with Victor Wembanyama, the idea of you're just a basketball player, period. We're going to teach you every single aspect of the game. Now, this doesn't mean that America didn't have any of their own, right? Kevin Garnett in 95, what he was doing at the power forward spot was really unheard of at that particular time. Even a guy like a Scottie Pippen, who really was a point forward, he was like a playmaker slash guy playing at the wing position. So yes, you had players coming out of North America that were ahead of their time. I gotta say that just to make sure y'all are not getting the idea I'm making it seem like the NBA was a dark age, primitive league, and then Europeans came and all of a sudden changed the game, right? That's not the narrative I want people to take out of this.
Our development in USA basketball, you can just look at that on the surface and the difficulty and the challenges that we face in playing international competitions. So when I grew up and growing up overseas in Italy, I was very fortunate because I caught the teaching time in Europe. So, you know, the Red Holtzmans, the Tex Winners, and all these great coaches at the time went over to Europe to teach coaches, have coaching clinics of how to train players. So when I was growing up, I caught the fundamentals of that game. These players learn how to play the game and think the game at all levels. Pau Gasol, just as comfortable handling the ball as he is in the post.
To further show I'm giving America its credit, you heard in that clip a very important part where Kobe says guys like Tex Winner, coaches like a Tex Winner, went over to Europe to really teach the fundamentals of the game. Clearly, they studied USA basketball and what was going on. They got a lot of their influence from the NBA. It just appears that as time went on, they held on to that more and cherished it. Again, in comparison to how NBA players were developed as they were going on along their journey to make the NBA while in the United States. That also makes me think, is it a coaching thing? Can we just solely put it on the players? Did the coaching philosophy and strategies change where they took for granted the talent and the athleticism that they had, where they didn't want to put a focus on it? Because at the end of the day, the players could play, but it's the coaches who put them in and emphasize whatever strategy it is that they're trying to do. Unless you're under the assumption that it's totally a players' league, the coaches have lost a lot of their power, leadership, influence. As a result, they can't really hone in on the players that they have to really teach those fundamentals. But I'm not even buying that. If you think it is, let me know in the comments, because at the end of the day, you are the leader of the team. You are the guy who's putting in other players. You have them in your own system. You still got to find a way to put your fingerprints and teach the game properly. I would love to hear y'all tell me how much of this is a player problem or a coaching problem when it comes to the fundamentals not being practiced enough. Some other last but important points that I want to make. You know, hearing Kobe Bryant talk about Pau Gasol and the versatility of his game, it also reminds me why, in all fairness, I have to mention the Euro style influence, which is the finesse, three-point shooting, spacing. The NBA has adopted that so much. It also has become a critique as to why the NBA has not as much physicality as it once did, because Adam Silver mentioned this, and I said this a few times already. They wanted to make sure that style was more predicated for the audience to watch and enjoy. For example, a Steph Curry with his three-point shooting. This is also why there's been the complaints about the physicality on defense not being enough. It's harder to guard guys out on the perimeter to really make a play, since the officiating has been more tailored to let the offensive player shine and do what he does. The last point I want to make to bring this back on what Dennis Schröder was saying, and he plays really good internationally, by the way. He stands out a lot more, which is probably also why he felt compelled to bring up some of these points that he made. But within the comments, he said to Kevin Durant, quote, "You're that type of a star and you have to say something to a person like me who not even meant it to be negative." Forget the whole star thing. If somebody is speaking the truth or they're bringing up a great point in a dialogue, let's put aside their fame, notoriety, what they did, what they accomplished. If the idea, the philosophy, whatever it is that they're standing for is worth discussing, let's talk about it. I like the fact that Kevin Durant is not looking at himself as some superstar who is above everybody and he doesn't have to answer to this person or that person. Sometimes it's great. It brings about videos like this. And sometimes you may think, hey, Kevin Durant, you don't got to respond to everybody. But I don't think it's necessarily just a total negative thing. I like that Kevin Durant could speak and be somebody who is of the people. That's all I got for y'all today. I would love to hear your opinion on everything that I laid out approximately in this 10-minute video. I would also want to hear your opinion and your perspective on what Dennis Schröder had to say. Are you taking his side? Do you agree or disagree with it? Let me know. Same thing with Kevin Durant. Do you see things from his perspective when it comes to the, hey, we could do both? We're entertaining and we're also high IQ, which is why we won the gold medal. As always, man, like, subscribe, and share. Salute for listening, and peace. And very quickly before leaving, make sure to check the description in this video. There's a link to buy the Kobe Bryant Mamba Mentality book. It's an Amazon link. You can purchase it online. And Kobe Bryant's breaking down the game as he does best, as you also heard in the clip that I played for y'all in this video. So go ahead and make sure to check that out. All right, now we out.